Hi Wayne, welcome to Tech with TV once again. As we already discussed a lot about what's happening in AR industry, what did we do, as in how did Vivek got into AR? We got to know everything, right? So let's start discussing about what's happening in the industry, what's happening with the consumers with respect to AR. Can we just start with a simple topic, consumer AR? But Vivek, before you start, I just want to request you, let our audience understand what is consumer AR as a term.
Right. Consumer AR basically is AR which is not used in industry. To further explain what consumer AR is, I'll just state a few examples. Snapchat, the Instagram filters, all the filters, all the AR elements that are used by general consumers. Not the industry or military or government agencies is consumer AR, right?
So basically in day-to-day life we are interacting with the big social media market, that's consumer AR.
Just a common person could interact with it, that is consumer AR, right? So a good example would be Lenskart, where they have filters for you to choose frames with, and you can just try those frames on, and I find that as a very great example of AR. The other consumer examples, like I said, would be filters. Flipkart just very recently, like a week ago, announced that they are doing AR. They acquired a company known as Capic, and now the design team of Capic is it's responsible for making AR for Flipkart. The AR agency, the AR industry basically is very great in consumer because it has a larger reach than any other industry, right? For example, if you say maintenance industry, if you say educational industry, the crowd here in the consumer space is way larger than any other industry. So I feel consumer space for AR is one of the most happening space right now.
Okay. Yeah. So as you know, previously we discussed and we mentioned that e-commerce is by default adopting the space of consumers where I think it's more to do with the eye-catching moments for people who want to try. So
correct.
Yeah, so marketing as a function would have been proper adaptability of AR. But from an experience standpoint, do you think that consumer AR is something really useful for consumers from buying point, from experience point, or from a decision making point? Because still there is a bracket or the clusters of people which think they are not comfortable of buying online, right? Because they want to touch and feel. What is happening with the consumer AR?
That's actually a very valid question. See, what happens is consumer AR on its face value feels like any other e-commerce experience, right? You feel as if you're buying just digital stuff without even having a look at it. But that exactly is the stigma that this consumer AR is trying to break. Why I say that is, let's say you're buying a handbag or a travel bag. You know what a travel bag looks like, but you almost always miss the dimensions of it. You almost always miss how big or what's the size, but consumer AR, or rather AR in e-commerce, right? It will give you an example. I'll give an example wherein it will solve a lot of problems of e-commerce websites. So coming back to the example of the travel bag, let's say your bag is this huge or this big, you'll have it here in front of you in AR. So that stigma of whether I couldn't see my products, I couldn't see how they look like, I couldn't touch and feel them, is almost 50% solved with AR itself.
And this helps for buyer to be more confident before what is that they're buying, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, I think, a real life applicability is required in this case, as it's required because the buying power, every individual, what he or she owns it has to come out when they do it. It should not be with the thought or dilemma where in dual mind, that should I buy it, should I not? So I think this will be very impactful for the e-commerce thing. But this was the one case of the e-commerce. What do you think with the consumer AR, or what are the other industries are utilizing AR for the better customer experience? Would be the better word?
Yeah, that's actually technically a correct word. I'll state one of the use cases that you have made for Aditya Birla Group. Eternia is an arm of Aditya Birla Group, wherein they have customized windows, right? So earlier they had a brochure and you could just put in your dimensions and you could contact their engineer, and then you get a custom made window. The experience was long, it took a few days of time, and then you could see your window finally when it's made. So we tried to solve that problem with industrial consumer grade VR, wherein you scan your wall, you state the dimensions, and then you choose what style of window you want, what material you want, and you can see the window directly on your wall. It also allows you to edit the window while you are seeing it. So this solves a lot of problems, right? You can see how it looks after installation. You can get a tentative price, a rough draft of a price, and you can also choose with multiple options. You can also choose from multiple options. So I guess that solves a real world problem in consumer space.
I mean, so where do you like state this industry? Where does this industry lies in the utilization? Is this FMCG? Is this retail, analytics? Which industry?
See, that's where we can't draw lines. It's almost FMCG, but it's also e-commerce, but it's also some marketing gimmick. It can also be called as a marketing gimmick, right?
Okay.
So you can't draw a line where it's all a gray area. That's a great question. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I completely in agreement with that. There is no such lines to draw
Yeah.
that this industry is as different from this or this. At the end, it's the user who's
Yes.
going to use it. It's
Yes.
the people, for them, we are making this to problem solve. I just want you to highlight how AR helps to catch eyes of an individual. I mean, there's normal way of marketing, there's normal way of functioning to each and every product, but how is that AI helps to grab the attention, to make your space in the industry and to get the ROI for your product? How do you answer this three in a one go?
So there's one other thing that also comes in conjunction with what you just said is data acquiring, data acquisition.
When you mentioned the conjuncture.
Right. So what happens is you get, see, marketing is all about interaction. People want to be interacted with, and that interaction tells a lot about the customer, right? That interaction tells a lot about the consumer, and people who are selling stuff want to know what their customer is like. AR allows you to, from the seller's perspective, it allows you to gain next level of consumer interaction. Wherein in 2D screens you obviously have two-dimensional interactions. How long you scroll through a page, how long you look at a page, what buttons you click, how long you watch a video or an image. But in AR, right, you have 3D interactions. You have people playing around. You have people seeing product from all the sides. There you get data in 3 dimensions, and that level of intimate interaction, that data is very precious for obviously sellers. Also, this will also shed some light. This will also help consumers interacting with whatever they are buying beforehand. It goes both ways. You get data on customers, but customers also get to see what their product is.
So Vivek, by understanding this, the concept of the brand and like industries are applying for enhance the customer experience, So just to wrap this up, just to conclude this talk, what do you think where AR is going to stand in future for business applications, for brand applications, or never know what other applications AR is going to get in the future, but what is your take on this?
Right. I'd like to state one good use case that we have made for leading pharma companies in India, leading pharma organizations, Dr. Reddy's, and to name a few. I mean, Dr. Reddy's and Cipla and everything. So what those applications are is you have machine floors, right? You have floors which you can't touch, specifically in pharma industry. They are not allowed to be, the medicines are not allowed to be touched by any human. The whole line is supposed to be touchless, but maintenance needs to be done, right? You need to maintain, you need to interact with the machine all the time. So how do you train for that? You need remote assistance, obviously. You need frequent maintenance of those machines, right? So what you do is with a good AR headset, you put on the headset, and just like Iron Man, just like in the sci-fi movies, you can just see through the machine and you can see what is broken in the machine. Now the next step would be, traditionally you went through a catalog, you opened the machine, you ordered part number so and so from vendor so and so. But our application, what it does is you just see the part, you see it is broken or it is going to break. It is preventive maintenance or regular maintenance, and then what you do is you just say order now. You just give a voice command to the headset, order now. It will place the order to the relevant vendor directly in the quantity, in the amount that you said.
Wow, this is really interesting in the way AR is changing and enhancing the company experience. I think very important in these days to be operationally excel ourselves in personal and professional life altogether. I think this was an amazing talk with you while talking about what's happening in the industry with AR.
Great.
Thank you, Vivek. Just last thought of, you want to share something with the audience where the AR is going to be, anything, one single point which you think you want to share?
Right, Umang. So the final thing that I would like to wrap it on is, when you said the future applications of AR, I think I tend to avoid this term of future applications, wherein applications are always evolving. So you have certain applications now, you had certain applications in past, and now those applications are always evolving. They are not like they don't lie in future, right?
So
they are here.
So do I come
They're
in
here.
agreement that there's nothing
Yeah.
as future?
I mean,
but
you
it's
you
about
can't
now.
compare you can't compare the time that you see a good pair of headsets
Exactly.
and you feel as if you are in a sci-fi movie, and that is now. I can't say anything about future, right? We are living in future right now.
Exactly. Very well said. Thank you, Vivek.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this session. I'm very thankful to TechVet TV again for having me here. And if you have any doubts, you can have them in the comment section below. And please don't forget to like and share. And yes, I'm here. Meet you next time in the next chapter.